Hello. We are back. UFC on Fox 15 was on, and one thing that has come out of this is this debate that is going on right now, and I feel a bit sick. Hold on. Right, now I'm better. So we had Jacare, who was originally supposed to fight Yoel Romero, but then fought Chris Camozzi, and you had Luke Rockhold versus Lyoto Machida, and the debate going on leading into this show is, does Jacare deserve the number one contendership and the next title fight, or does Luke Rockhold? If both guys win, who deserves it? If Machida wins, who deserves the next title shot? I think Jacare's case lessened a bit because, unfortunately, of no fault of his own, Yoel Romero was hurt, so he couldn't do the fight with Yoel Romero, and he fought a guy he's already beat, Chris Camozzi, so it's not as impressive. But Jacare has been on a tear. Ever since he lost to Luke Rockhold, ironically enough, back in Strikeforce, he's been on this path of redemption, and he's avenged losses like he avenged a loss against Gegard Mousasi. He's going in there. He beat Tim Kennedy, actually, in Strikeforce back in the day too. But he's been on this comeback. Luke Rockhold was a guy that I remember seeing on Strikeforce Challenger shows, just a local guy, AKA guy. You know, had some grappling, was a bit of a kickboxer, very good. I would hear though, and the one thing I would always hear is, you wait till this guy really taps into his potential, and you're going to see some things that you will never expect. And I thought, yeah, whatever. Goes in there and fights Jacare in a close fight, wins by decision, becomes Strikeforce champion. Alright, now I'm starting to see, yeah, alright, maybe. Then he starts progressing very well, destroys Keith Jardine. He ends up in the UFC, well, he fought Tim Kennedy as well, destroyed, he goes to the UFC, he loses to Vitor Belfort, unfortunately. I know a lot of people debate what happened. And then it's like Luke Rockhold just turned it up a notch. He got pissed off, he got fired up, and he came in there and he put in some very impressive performances. I can't remember the guy that he beat, but he was a guy that trained with Chris Weidman. He was a New Yorker. I just remember that fight. I remember him fighting Boich, him fighting Michael Bisping, which was a very heated, almost grudge match based on their history, and the way he beat Michael Bisping really elevated his status. Jacare, on the other hand, has just really stepped up. A lot of guys think he should be and could be the middleweight champion, the next great Brazilian middleweight after Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida. A lot of people feel that Jacare is that guy. And both of these guys have been on this rise. They're both on the same card. Both of them come out with wins. And I want to tell you who I think deserves the title shot. Thinking about it like this. Granted, Jacare is very gifted. He's a fantastic grappler. We all know that. He's an amazing grappler. He's an amazing athlete. The way that he has been able to pick up the rest of MMA, to me, has been very impressive, because a lot of grapplers kind of come in and they don't pick it up, and he's kind of got the striking going down quite well. He moves around quite well. He looks comfortable in more than one position, and that has really impressed me. And he's beaten some very impressive people, and I mean, he avenged his loss against Gegard Mousasi, which was very, very impressive, and he's been on a tear. Then you look at Luke Rockhold, and you look at what Luke Rockhold has been able to do, and if I'm just going to base it really and break it down to a fine science about the night and what happened, and if you ask me off the top of my head, does Jacare get it or does Luke Rockhold get it, I am going to say Luke Rockhold, and here is why. You go in there and you fight someone like Lyoto Machida. You have the tendency, this can go one of many ways. You can beat him in a decision, or you end up looking really, really badly. Or you somehow figure him out. But sometimes you don't always come out for the best fighting Lyoto Machida. Lyoto Machida is an elite level fighter. He has a very strange and awkward style. Sometimes it doesn't appeal to the mainstream audience because it's not always the most exciting style, but it's a very effective style, and he can make you look very, very slow, and he's hard to keep up with. And at middleweight, he's even quicker. And granted, he did lose to Chris Weidman, but he gave Weidman a very hard fight and almost beat him in that fight at one point. We've seen him fight Mark Munoz and assassinate that guy. We've seen him in there with CB Dollaway and assassinate him. We saw him in there with Gegard Mousasi and he beat him. So Machida at middleweight, I think, is far more dangerous, and he has this aura. I know he lost to Shogun, I know he lost to John Jones, but that aura is still somewhat there in my opinion, and he's still, in my opinion, a guy that if you beat him, if you beat Lyoto Machida, that really means something. And I think if you beat him decisively, very decisively, that really makes you a contender for whatever belt in whatever weight class. So we see Luke Rockhold go in there with Machida, and people aren't too sure how this is going to go. Rockhold is telling people, look, this is going to go very differently to what you think. And I'm watching this fight, and I am absolutely stunned by the way Luke Rockhold is performing. Not one lick from Lyoto Machida. And it was one of those things where, did he make Machida look that old, or was Luke Rockhold that good, or was it a bit of both? I think it was really that Luke Rockhold looked that good, because he was able to completely catch him. He hurt him in the end of the first round. I remember when he caught him with that elbow, and you know when they were picking the guys up at the end of the round, Machida was stumbling like that, and I saw his cornerman trying to hold him back. So I was like, oh my god, I've never seen this happen to Machida at this level. Not really in a long... I've seen him outpointed, but not dominated like that. And then in the second round, Rockhold gets him and submits him. I think when you are catching Machida, dominating him, getting him down, and then submitting the guy, that right there tells me that you should be fighting for the world title. Unequivocally, in my opinion, Luke Rockhold is the #1 contender. That's just my opinion. I think Jacare will be the guy that fights for the title after that, personally. Not to say that Jacare isn't any good. I think he's an elite fighter too. But based on tonight's performances, you got to give it to Luke Rockhold. Absolute domination. Against Lyoto Machida, of all people. That, to me, is a title fight. We might get the revenge match, Belfort and Rockhold, or we'll get Weidman and Rockhold. And Rockhold wants it in New York. And Rockhold's confidence is at a real high point, because he's saying, look, Weidman won't stand with me and he won't grapple with me. I'll beat him there. So that kind of confidence, backed up by what he just did against Lyoto Machida, I say make the fight. Make the fight. Make the fight right now. Middleweight has become so much more interesting ever since Weidman belted Anderson Silva 2 years ago. And it's just getting more and more interesting. Anyways, this is a quick video, not my best. I've not been feeling too good, so I haven't been around as much. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. Buy or Sell is coming back next week. I will be back on full form next week. Guys, love you all. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Take care and peace.